So when I first started with Digital Boost, I think we were doing like one sale a month, sometimes even no sales a month, and now we're on about 300 a month.
Let's be real, building a business is hard, and it's made harder by all the noise out there. In this new video series, we're demystifying what it takes to actually build a business. We'll be hearing from mentors and founders in our community to hear what gets real results, what doesn't work, and everything in between. Let's dive in. Gary, welcome to the show.
Hiya. So my name's Gary, and my business is I sell stretching and recovery tools mainly for runners and running injuries.
So when we first met, we spoke a lot about the early days where you'd built the product and you were taking it to market. And I know a lot of that hinged on your website. So take me back. When you first started, did you have any experience with building a website?
Not at all. I have tried all the websites. I started with a Squarespace, then I went to a Wix, then I had some guys do a WordPress for me, and then now I'm finally on Shopify. So yeah, I've tried them all.
And how did you kind of go about building those websites when you didn't have the skills?
Badly. No. So, you get the ads for Wix and Squarespace. You see all those ads all the time. So I thought, I'll try those first because I think it's much better to use a builder to begin with. And that was the mistake I made with WordPress, was that one is just like, it's open, do what you want. And that was the biggest disaster. We were much better off staying with a builder. This is a template that I can use and I can just drag and drop in rather than just like an open format, because then it becomes really difficult.
And when you kind of settled on it, how was it performing? Was it performing how you wanted?
No, not at all. Not when we first started. It didn't perform for a good 6 to 8 months. So there was still that sort of period where we're sort of testing around and playing around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. What help did you start looking for in those kind of 6 to 8 months?
Well, I think you have to start at the basic level, right? So you have to look at, for example, you can look at other competitors and you can see there's always templates that you can follow, right? It's always going to have some sort of review section, some sort of product section, some sort of hero banner at the top. So it's more of, you need to, rather than right from the beginning, right from the get-go, try and make this amazing, brand new, never seen before site, right? That's going to come further down the line. You're better off going with something that's tried and tested where you can swap in. There's not enough time in the day. You're wearing so many hats, especially if you're like me, where it's just myself and my wife. Like, I haven't got all the time in the world to be completely building a website from scratch, right? I have to just say, okay, I'll get this theme. I'll try that for a moment, and then I'll chop and change one thing at a time. That's where we're going to go to next, is like, if right at the beginning we were changing 10 things on the site at a time, and then something worked, well, I don't know what it was, right? How can I tell? So now it's, okay, I'm going to change this one headline, this one picture, right? This one tagline or something. Just change that one thing. And then, we've seen an improvement, and then I can change again, and then I can change again. And so I can optimize it that way rather than changing 10 things at a time.
I remember when we first chatted, you had a mentoring session with a mentor who looked at your website. And I remember you saying that kind of, you made some changes from that conversation. So where did they kind of take you from and to in that mentoring session?
Well, they said it wasn't very good in nice ways, of course. I mean, I didn't even really know anything about like optimization and optimizing the site and keeping the colors consistent. Our first site, kind of like you were saying, like bespoke, we wanted to have it nice and bright, and there's all these colors everywhere and all these different fonts. And then I looked at it and was like, what is this? No, it needs to be one color, even just white. Like our site now is just white, right? Keeping that one font or one font family, and then, just keeping it simple, really. Yeah.
And they just stripped it all back.
Yeah. Absolutely. We tried to do too many things at once, right? We tried to make the world's greatest website, and we ended up just making a headache.
Yeah, no, definitely. And when they stripped it back, were you a bit nervous to lose like all the bells and whistles?
I think yes and no. So I think kind of when you're running your own business, you have to try to not get attached to too many ideas, because your mentors are always going to not always, but most of the time, they're always going to know better than you in certain situations, right? So you have to take their advice. You don't have to always listen to every single thing that they say, but you have to take a step back and go, oh yeah, they're probably right about that. Because a lot of the time you look at something, you think it's amazing, you get on a call and they go, why have you got that? And you go, oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I've done that. And then you just remove it. And otherwise you go, well, I had that because of this. And you start getting really, attached to it. And that's when, nothing benefits from that.
Yeah. So you took their advice and you stripped it back.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened after that? Was there like a significant change?
Yeah, we had quite a big, so when I first started with Digital Boost, I think we were doing like one sale a week. That's one sale a month, sometimes even no sales a month. And now we're on about 300 a month. So that's been a big jump. And I would attribute most of that to the website. Yeah.
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 And in what ways, just like people finding you, products selling better experience?
Kind of a bit of everything. So there has to be continuity across the whole brand, right? So one of the issues we had before were we were going too broad, right? It's a back pain product. Well, everybody has back pain, right? Unfortunately, everyone's got a bad back, right? So you can't narrow it down. Or then it's office workers. Well, office workers again is too broad, right? And now it works really well for runners. So we've gone from really, really broad down to, okay, it works really well for runners, cyclists, swimmers, and you've narrowed it down. And then we've kept it consistent across the brand, across the ads, across the text, across the website. It's all consistent. Whereas before I had these mentoring sessions, it was all over the place, right? Yeah. We had an idea of what we wanted to be, and it wasn't being shown in the website, and it wasn't being shown across the ads.
You've obviously started out with the back pain and arrived at the sport kind of physio side of things. How did that evolution happen? Was that you kind of just realigning with the brand vision? Were you listening to customer feedback? Because I think that sort of niching and that almost like a bit of a pivot, really, a lot of businesses will see in their lifetime.
Actually, interestingly, the first time it was mentioned, the two guys there were like, I think this is great. This should be a fitness product. And then at that point, I was too attached to the idea. I was like, no. We had a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter was back pain. Did really well in a Kickstarter. So that's the angle we should go for. And then we were struggling for a while. And then it wasn't until I started running a bit more and I started stretching on it. I'm like, actually, this is really good for my running injuries. Like, this is really good for my cars. I feel like I'm recovering better from my runs. Why don't we just test a landing page, just one completely separate page away from the website, test that for runners. And then straight away we were like, whoosh, like, oh, okay, that's the angle.
Wow.
And that's just from testing. And then runners was the one that really started to work for us. And then from there, we just tested a landing page. So, you've got your website and then a landing page will be separate. So they won't necessarily be able to click to it from the website anywhere. So that gives you another way to test different ideas because you can just run an ad and test it to this one separate page. So at any time we were testing 4 or 5 different angles, and it wasn't until we got to the runners and for the legs that it really started to grow. Yeah.
That's so funny as well, because when I first interviewed you, I remembered we were filming and you were bouncing.
Yeah, I'd actually hurt my calf, or hurt my ankle. I'd hurt my ankle, and I was actually sitting standing on it on the standing desk.
That's crazy. Like, you were already doing it when it was a back pain product.
Yeah,
and then it's just evolved. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, it just flipped the mindset of it being a back pain product to stretch your legs out. To it stretches your legs out, but you can also use the back at the same time.
Yeah,
and just that one little flip changed everything.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and so you're seeing better results with the running stuff now.
Yeah.
And how is that compared to the back pain stuff to now? How has that pivot kind of changed your business?
Oh, it's totally different. It's a totally different angle. We were, as it said earlier, we were selling one a month right at the beginning, and now we're selling 300 plus a month.
Yeah. And that's just from the pivot.
Yeah. And that goes back to just niching down and saying, this is my market. This is what I'm going to go on to. And people always say, well, you've got footballers, you've got dancers, you've got all of this. And you go, yeah, but at the moment I need to laser my focus on this, get that to work. And then again, it goes back to the website. I can't say everything, right? I can't do everything because it's not going to work. I need to laser in, focus on that one thing. And then eventually I can expand it.
Get clear. Yeah, exactly. What things did you change on your website that like stood out that had the biggest impact? Because I think you said banner earlier. So were there any things like that that really, really moved the needle?
I mean, your product images are key, right? So you have to keep some consistency with the product images. They have to have good photography. So you can't just have something just taken off, poor quality off your phone. It has to be a really, really good quality photo. That really helps. Of course, reviews, if you can get reviews, I mean, even if you have to just give it to friends and family and whatever at the beginning, you got to get those reviews in there. That is really, really helpful. And then keywords, where again, keeping it consistent. So you keep your keywords in there. So if they're coming in from calf pain, calf injuries, well, if I started immediately talking about back pain, then they're going to be confused, right? So keeping those keywords in there as well.
Yeah, brilliant tips. If somebody is out there and they're thinking of starting their website, or they've started and they want to kind of make it better, what 2 pieces of advice would you give them?
Heat maps, for sure, using heat maps.
Yeah.
So there are some heat maps there where you can see the scroll, so you can see how far down they're going, which is really helpful. But also you can have, you can watch it live. So now it's a bit difficult when we've got a lot more visitors, but at the time when you're only getting 10 people a day coming to the site, right? It's really helpful for you to be able to literally watch their journey and say, what are they hovering on? What are they skipping over? What are they rereading? And just using that as data. Oh, maybe I need to move this a little bit higher up, and then using those scroll maps. Do you know what? I really like this bit, but it's right at the bottom. Well, it's only 15% of people are getting to the bottom. So why don't I try and move that up?
Yeah.
Right. That was really helpful. And then again, it has to go back to the second one. It's got to be like keywords. Like it's got to be consistent. It has to be consistent. I can't talk about neck pain if I'm saying calf injuries and foot injuries. Yeah. You have to keep it consistent across the brand.
Thank you so much to today's guests for sharing their insights on how to grow a business. To access free business support and one-to-one mentoring, visit the link on screen.